Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar going big because he's not fucking up. Ha ha!
It had nothing, no fire, no energy, no nothing. You know I have a shoulder right here, you know?
Ah, what was that, bro?
Oh, he had that prepared.
You thought I was going to fuck up, and so you had that ready, and I came out swinging.
No, that was all right. That was all right. I liked it. I'm just fucking with you.
Yo, for anybody who wants to give us reviews in the comments about our intros, please do. If you want to make YouTube videos about it, do that too.
Yeah.
Or suggestions. If you have suggestions on how we can do better, we would also appreciate that.
All comments. Umar, stop fucking up.
All right, Umar, what's on the agenda for today?
Okay, so we are going to start, as we as often do, with the geeky news of the week. So, first set is some very, very, very welcome news. Demon Slayer the movie is finally coming to North America. We got a announcement early in the week that, now unfortunately we do have to wait until, I think, June for the theatrical run, but there are discussions that there's also going to be an April, like end of April release also in like US and Canada. So we don't really know what's going on, but nonetheless we know that between April and June we're going to get that we're going to get that film, either legally or unlegally. Anyway, so
Unlegally, it became legal, and we made it not legal again. And then we got the film. Got you. Let's go with it.
Anyway, so that's some. I don't know about you guys, but I am so fucking can't wait for that film.
Yeah, I'm totally in. I don't even know what the premise is. I don't know nothing about the synopsis. All I ever heard was there's a Demon Slayer movie, and I was like, why can't I have it? That is it for me. Like, Demon Slayer movie, I'm in. Sold.
So is this going to be like what's it called, My Hero Academia, where the movies aren't directly linked to the show, whereas you can kind of watch it randomly, or is it going to be kind of like a thing where it's like it picks up right where season 1 ended?
It picks up right where season 1 ended. It actually is a season 2, technically speaking, or season 1.5. Like, it is the next arc in this series, and season 2 picks up right where the film left off.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Like, it is, unlike in other animes, this is necessary.
So yeah. How many episodes are we going to get for season 2 then officially?
Actually, let me check that. I'm not quite sure. I know we are getting a season 2, which was oddly enough for the longest time something that we didn't know. Mm-hmm. But now we know that it is definitely happening. I'm just not sure how many episodes it's going to be.
I'm kind of impressed.
25.
Sorry, I'm interrupt there. I was saying I'm kind of impressed that they're doing the opposite of like what the MCU is doing right now, right? The MCU is like building out the world with their TV, and it's like, no, we're just gonna like go from TV to movie to TV and have it an interconnected universe kind of deal. I like it.
What do you think so far?
I like that format too.
To be honest, I'm impressed with. They haven't said yet in terms of how many episodes. But I actually am kind of impressed that they're going with this format. It's entirely counter to the entire industry, because the most that they've done is kind of like what you were saying, Tactics, is like, this is a fun story, but it's like total BS. Or it's kind of like, it kind of fits in with the series. This is like, you need this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't mind when they do a movie where they have to like go back in time to give context to help with the next season, but you can kind of watch next season if you don't do that. But like the BS ones are kind of like, they're cool, but then you're like, what was the point of me getting invested in that film if there's no inevitable payoff for that later? Whereas this one, it's like there's a direct payoff. And I'm also kind of curious as to why they needed a movie arc to move the story forward. Not saying it's a bad thing. It's just that it's like what becomes your decision where you're like, this piece we have to tell to set up the next thing is better done in a movie than in a series of episodes. And I kind of, that makes me more curious to see what's in this movie that made them go that route.
Yeah,
well, go on, please go on.
No, I was just gonna say, and that's exactly how I felt about the My Hero Academia movie. I forget which one it was, but I think it was the one that I watched with you, Umar, where Deku and what's the fire guy's name?
Kachan.
Yeah, they merged together. One for all for one. Oh no, yeah, one for all. One for all. Yeah. They merged together and they both had it and took down the villain. But then that's not canon. So it was like, why did I? Yeah, like how do you like set the bar so high and then completely bring down the ranks? And then it's like, okay, well, I know this is never gonna happen now. So thank you.
You know what that's like? That's like having the best experience with a sexual experience with somebody, only to realize it was just a dream.
Yeah.
You wake up, you're like, I made a mess, and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't need the details.
But no, like I completely agree with you on that, Tactix, because like honestly, the second movie, you and I were loving that film. Like I was like, holy shit! And then
Even
last
with
10
subtitles.
minutes. Even with subtitles, yeah, I know. But then the last 10 minutes happens, and you're like, "Wait, what?"
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, "Oh." But
Yeah.
so the thing is with going to what you were saying, Darcy, like why are they did this way? This story arc, probably like I don't know it because I didn't read the manga, but this story arc could be like a small portion of what the next season would have been. So it's like instead of doing like arc and then filler and then arc again, they decided just to do the entire arc in a film, and it really worked for them financially. This is the highest grossing film in Japan. Like it beat out Your Name and it beat out Spirited Away. Like this is the film. Granted, COVID probably helped with that because like I think the movie came out just after restrictions were lifted. So everyone was like, yo, I don't fucking care. I'm going to a film. And oh look, Demon Slayer's on. Might as well watch this.
Yeah.
But also making it like necessary for the season 2, which means everyone who loved the first the first season is going to be like, I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, like it definitely makes a movie financially successful. You're like, like even right now, like I can't see like say for instance, my partner, she hasn't watched WandaVision, right? But I'm like, I'm gonna have to get her to watch WandaVision because I'm like, how do you go into these films like without knowing all this stuff now? There's so much to know. Like and like
is there really with WandaVision? I feel like nothing was really all that connected.
I feel like you're wrong on that one. I feel like yes, a lot of the events that happen there won't directly like pop up, but the consequence of the events will be the thing that shows up in the films, right? Like
also they kind of introduced a lot of stuff. Like for example, they've talked about like chaos magic. And also what the Scarlet Witch is, which leads into Doctor Strange. They've introduced...
but if you're not a big fan, you're not going to know what the fuck that is.
They also introduced Monica Rambeau, and she's going to...
Monica Rambeau's big.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to play out big in Captain Marvel too.
But I feel like they could still shoehorn her in without the need for you to watch WandaVision.
I don't know about that.
Because
like,
I feel like
showing up in that movie with powers and also with like a necessary understanding of like she has beef with Captain Marvel, and you're not going to know that unless you watch WandaVision.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think they could still put it in there without the need to watch WandaVision. I don't think it's necessary based off of what we got. I'm still of the mind that like. WandaVision,
you're still mad about the last episode, aren't you?
Because it didn't tie into anything. Really. The only thing that you could really say is that the way it ended with the end credit scene where she's like doing doing her astral projection, and she hears her kids screaming for help or something like that. I'm sure that's going to connect to something. But aside from everything else, it's kind of like the only other thing would be like White Vision.
White Vision is I feel is big because you're showing what I think. Also, the introduction of Sword I mean, we saw it like in end credit scenes, but we didn't really get an introduction to Sword before. So, I mean, yes, it's arguable that people could be like, well, it's like Shield, right? And it's like, yeah. It's like, all right, we're done.
But again, you don't need an in-depth explanation as to what Sword is, because we didn't really get a whole lot of what Sword was. It was just kind of like they were there, they were investigating the hex, and that's about it.
I don't know. I'm gonna say that like, there's a lot that was because WandaVision touched on a lot. It like a lot. Like, granted, I agree with you. Big names aside from Wanda and Vision, but even then they were so small time anyway in the movies. Big names weren't really introduced in this, nor were they kind of like touched on. But like everyone who was involved in this show, like all the characters, they definitely reach out to other things, and we know Wanda is going to be like either the villain or like a big part of Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is going to have like it's going to have massive ramifications on the Marvel universe.
To be determined.
All right, so moving on from that, this is a small bit of news, but for me, I find it to be very relaxing. The Batman has officially completed and wrapped up filming, which means, hopefully, knock on wood, Patty Patterson can't fuck up anymore.
See, I knew that I'd catch on.
Did we get any confirmation on the rumors of the bat penis getting into the pussy?
That rumor seems to be only a rumor. Nothing big has happened. So unfortunately, like while I would say it is very believable, there is no foundation at present. So it seems that it's only a rumor, but one that is not like out, in my opinion, that out there. Like it's like maybe like a small scale version could have happened, or it was completely fabricated, or it just didn't happen at all.
So either they're purposely doing this to kind of get like word of mouth and buzz around this movie, or someone's trying to sabotage this shit. Or actually, Patterson is actually just fucking up all around, and he's trying to sabotage the movie.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing how the premiere of the film shows him in terms, like if he's not even at the premiere or like anything like that, I'll be like,
I think he'll contractually be required to be there unless more stuff comes out and they have to distance themselves from the film, while at the same time, yeah, he's in the film, but we're just not gonna like talk about the fact that about him. I feel like it's the latter of either someone's trying to sabotage the film or he's trying to sabotage the film, because they don't. As much as you could say that they try and get word of mouth, they don't need it. There's like you just say we have a movie coming out. Oh, what's the movie about? Batman. All right, people are gonna show up. Like that's the end of the story. Even unless it starts looking at like the George Clooney like movie, people are gonna show up. And then they saw the teaser, and a lot of people got real interested in that movie. So they don't really need the attention because they're trying to keep people from taking shots of the set. Like they're at that level, you know. It's not like the films where people don't know about them until they come out. You know.
Well, you could argue the fact that, or the point that people are just kind of fed up with DC and its lackluster films, like that they've almost given up on DC as a franchise entirely, and we're like, yeah, we've seen the Batman thing. It clearly didn't work with Ben Affleck, so why should we put any faith into Robert Pattinson?
I would say that like this is why I find if this is a need to bolster the film, honestly, the teaser trailer did a really fucking good job. Like everyone shut the fuck up. Like even online, people were like, "Oh, I didn't see the reason to Robert Pattinson," and then they saw the trailer, like, "Okay."
Yeah, but Batman v Superman was also a very good trailer as well, and look how that movie turned out.
Yeah, but for certain people, it wasn't a surprise. There was large scale haters, me being one of them. That like there was a good population of that. When the teaser trailer for the Batman came out, everyone shut the fuck up. Everyone.
Yeah, but trailers aren't always reliable. You know what I mean? So,
agreed. But like the fact that what we were seeing or what we were being teased with, and the fact that this is coming from Matt Reeves, everything was coming together to the point that people were no longer saying this movie is going to suck. Mm-hmm. People were just saying, I'm interested to see what this film holds, or like they were saying this movie's going to rock. So like there was a sufficient paradigm shift in terms of thoughts of this film. And now with all the the rumors of stuff post-COVID, it's kind of gone into a middle ground.
But do you think it's a case where Robert Pattinson, because I feel like he still hasn't shaken the stigma of him being a part of the Twilight series, so people are still not taking him serious as an actor, because anytime you hear talks of Robert Pattinson, regardless of his body of work, especially in independent films, people always refer to him as Twilight guy, right? Yeah. It was the same thing with Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck has had a body of good work, Argo to name a few, and Gone Girl, but people still often refer to him as Daredevil and Geely, you know what I mean? And so they're like, yeah, he can't be Batman. And then he blew it out of the water with Batman v Superman, despite it being a shitty film. So I think that with that, I think people are still we're still associating Robert Pattinson with the Twilight stuff, and they're they doubted I think there was some doubt there, not doubt in the doubt wasn't directed towards Matt Reeves, because I mean he's already proven that he's a phenomenal director based off of what he did with the last two Planet of the Apes films, right? But when it comes to this movie, a director can only do so much, and then it's up to the actor to pull the rest of the weight. And if he already has a lot of negative press around him, or just a lot of naysayers not thinking that he can really carry a film of this caliber, then obviously that's going to affect or impact the amount of people that go and see it, because they might just automatically write it off regardless of who's attached to it.
But then being known for fucking up the film is not going to improve their opinion of him being the Batman.
Well, you never know. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate, but it could be a situation where it's there's because there's so much talk about this film, regardless of it's what is that saying? Bad press is still good press kind of thing. So it's even with these rumors and this constant talk of everything that went on set, it still remains kind of relevant as we lead up to the opening day, right? Because remember, this movie was supposed to come out this year, right? And now it was pushed back to 2022. So of course, if I'm in this position and we put out a trailer back in 2020, and then there's this long gap of nothing being shown, nothing being talked about, it can easily be forgotten, especially with the influx of different movies that are coming out from Marvel, Disney Plus with their Marvel content. It's just going to get lost in the sauce. So maybe their way of keeping things relevant is let's stir the pot and let's paint Robert Pattinson with a bad image. People then keep talking about it. They go and see it and they're like, oh shit, Robert Pattinson isn't such a bad guy. He's a special kind of dude. Right. And then,
I would say that that does make sense, but because the thing is, I don't see it as they did it because people didn't believe in Robert Pattinson, because the trailer made a lot of believers. It made me a believer. It made online. I saw a lot of people switching their tact. But this is kind of playing up the negatives of Robert Pattinson. But at the same time, maybe you're right. Maybe they're just trying to keep the word of the movie along, and this is the best way they can do it.
Yeah. My best hope is that this is just a meta experience, and he's being what Bruce Wayne is like to be in that world.
So moving on to a next one. Currently a possibility for Face Off 2 is kind of being circulated, with both Nicolas Cage and John Travolta interested in reprising their roles.
Oh, really?
Oh, the originals too? Oh, my goodness.
Didn't one of them die though?
Yes.
Interesting. I don't.
You meant in the movie?
No, in the movie. I was like, wait, who died?
Yeah,
not Nick Cage. Oh,
I don't Don't get me wrong. I found it to be a fun movie when I was in elementary school when it came out. It didn't hold up as I got older.
I want my face off.
But I don't see the need for this. What do you guys think?
From what I remember, that movie was outrageous, yo. I only saw it once a long time ago, and I just remember it being wild. I was like, holy. I don't remember it.
Outrageous is a good word.
Yeah, it was just bananas. What I was just like, yo, is this real? Even at that time when I was watching it, I had a good time. I just don't know if it'll hold up quite the same. I feel like it's kind of, and I use this example unfairly because I haven't watched the full movie yet, but I started watching Coming to America, right? And so far, like it's okay, but it's missing a lot of that old school heart from the original. I just think it was 20 years too late. And I feel like with a lot of these movies, like you have to capitalize on it while like strike while the iron's hot. And I feel like too much time has passed for this movie to be a big successful hit. Like I kind of attribute it to like Bad Boys 4.
Yeah.
Like the iron was still kind of, was it 4 or 3? I think it's 3. Yeah, I think it was 3. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. Yeah, Bad Boys 3. The iron was still kind of hot, and don't get me wrong, I liked Bad Boys 3, but it wasn't nearly as good as the original or Bad Boys 2. But there was enough there to warrant a continued franchise because they didn't wait quite as long. I feel like with Face Off, first of all, no one's going to remember that movie. It's just too much time has passed. Like you remember certain elements, but I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I would give it a chance, but I don't know how successful it would be to be like if it was to be released now.
Darcy?
So I want to jump in on this. So first off, I'm just gonna say this like real simple, but I love that you brought up Bad Boys 3 because I'm gonna circle back on that. Face Off 2 ain't gonna work. Okay, it's just not gonna work. Okay? Like let's be frank. It's not gonna work because the whole point of the movie is like a really big gimmick. It didn't set itself up to be something that you can keep doing. Right? Like it's a one-off shtick. Like a kind of like a one-off comedy shtick, but don't beat that horse over and over and over again because it's just not like unless you're just gonna redo the film from scratch like and you could find a way to make that shtick work today with different actors, then maybe, right? But like it's a weird shtick to try to make a movie around because it's like literally it's about cutting two people's faces off and replacing them and trading spaces. It's like it's trading spaces for criminals. That's what it is. Okay. like, and like I don't know, like it's just not gonna work. But I love what you're saying about Bad Boys 3 because so like I watched Coming to America and yeah, it's nowhere near as funny. There's good moments, but most of it it's not the original. It's and flat. I feel like the problem with say for Coming to America is that movie required Eddie Murphy and what's his name?
Arsenio
Hall. And a couple other actors. They have an energy in their 20s that they don't have now, right? They had a hunger, and if they can get to that place of hunger and honesty, or find other actors who have that and then build around it and kind of make the film work more around them, but still finding a way to make the balance between the old and the new, great. But if you don't have that hunger, then the comedy doesn't sell, right? But Bad Boys 3 was one of that didn't hit the mark, but I think the reason it didn't hit the mark, and it's going to sound funny, but they didn't have Michael Bay. And it's the 100% reason for me, because there were 3 main actors in all of the Bad Boys films, and Michael Bay's direction was the third actor. The style of that film was the world and was part of the storytelling and part of what made them so epic. And you take that away or you imitate that, it falls flat. Some films, by all means, like you go through like the Mission Impossible franchise and everyone's a different director and some of them are great and some of them whatever, and you accept the ones that you love and you don't like the other ones. And I never thought of until recently watching some YouTube videos that there were different directors. It never dawned on me. But the Bad Boys franchise had a look that mattered to its style. It was just,
can tell.
Yeah, like it feels like somebody on YouTube made the film and somehow coerced the two of these guys into it, right? Like, I want to make my Michael Bay film. And then they just somehow got signed into a contract. Yeah. It did not work because they didn't have the third actor and it was the director in that particular film. Where I don't think I don't think those actors would need to go back to their youth. I think they needed that direction and that style to make it work. And so sometimes I think when you're going to take these old ones and bring them to new, if it requires young hunger, don't do it. They don't have it anymore. It's 20 years. They got too much money. They just don't have that hunger. But if it's like something like a style, get the right people and do not try to get somebody else to imitate, because that's the only way it's going to work.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Nice.
Sorry, I got a little passionate about that there. I got a little passionate about that.
Let it be free, man. All right, so our last geeky news is in relation to what came out recently, the Justice League film. Now we are going to be watching it, well, for our perspectives tomorrow, but from your perspectives, you'll be hearing about this next week. I will say that my initial thoughts haven't changed. I'm just going to see it because it's out there, and we'll see how it goes.
And you want to support creators getting to speak their vision.
That is the only reason. That is like pretty much the only reason.
Yo, Tactix, you go up first.
Yo, so everyone has hit me up so far that knows that I'm a geek, and they've said, yo, honestly, I think you're gonna like this movie. So I feel good going into it. I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I'm going in with low expectations, and my bar is that I at least want it to be like better than the original of what we got. I want redemption for Batman. We need redemption for Ray Fisher. Like we need more of his story. At this point, I don't give a fuck about Flash.
True.
Because we all know why. And we're gonna keep reminding people about that situation. Yes, exactly.
So I'm not laughing at what he did, just how you just blurted it out.
But I am I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I want to see this 4-hour run of the Justice League and what Zack Snyder's vision is to cap it off. I mean, this might be his last go around of this franchise, or maybe depending on how well received it is, Umar is giving his thumbs up, hoping that it is.
There'll be more. He means
you done, Zach. You did your job. Not pass off.
Well, who would you want to take over, or like what?
No, I shouldn't say anyone, because
Umar, do not come back with any other person, because I'm sure what I just say about Bad Boys 3. Okay,
all right, fine. If you want my honest answer, I would want the Russo brothers.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
Yeah, can't argue that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but yeah, if you told me the Russo brothers over Zack Snyder, I'm like, yeah, no, I like that.
Let Matt Reeves take over, like, for all I care, like just not Zack Snyder. Like, Zack Snyder. Continue, guys, please. I won't be triggered anymore.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
You good? You good over there, bro?
Take a shot of vodka and just go.
Darcy?
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was a transition to me yet. So one, I gotta get this out the way first. Before I get into my thoughts, I gotta get this out the way. I gotta call Blast. I gotta put Blast out there into the geeky community. Y'all motherfuckers is fucking up with this movie, okay? So this movie dropped at midnight, okay? Like Thursday, like Wednesday, whatever it is. It's Friday right now, so yeah, Thursday night midnight, and I wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and people already have YouTube videos with like spoiler screenshots and statements. Like at 7 o'clock in the morning, the movie drops at midnight. Like you guys can't even wait like a whole day to drop spoilers. All day I'm on YouTube, and I'll open up because I'm on YouTube all the time, and like. Spoiler this, don't recommend this channel. Another channel pops up. Oh, spoiler that. I already know 3 things about the film I didn't want to know until I watched it. Like, I can't get 2 days. Like, I'm just saying, from geeks to geeks, can y'all stop trying to, like, just jump the line to get clicks and actually respect people?
I'm going to have to, like, jump in on this. Darcy, I'm in full agreement with you. And, like, I'm going to have to say that, like, Twitter is notorious. Like, let's even use WandaVision, for example. When big spoiler stuff were happening episode by episode, people were dropping that on Twitter and also on YouTube with like the screen thumbnails and also with the titles, and just putting it all out there hours after this is dropped. And like this dropped at 3 a.m. So like 6 a.m. when you wake up, and you're like, I want to watch WandaVision, and all of a sudden you're like, you got spoilers. your geek community, if you're going to do that, first of all, don't do a spoiler thumbnail. Second of all, don't do a spoiler title. And thirdly, put a spoiler warning. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. You know, like for instance, like I won't say exactly what it is, but it's something related to Superman, right? And they have, like, if you're gonna do that, put a thumbnail that's really blurry with the word spoiler over it, and then that way it's like I can see that it's Superman. Like, you won't believe what happens with Superman. Blurry spoiler. Okay. No, I have a choice to make here. I didn't get a choice. I woke up and I saw something, and I saw a scene from a climatic moment of the film, and I'm like, thanks. I just went to go piss. That's all I wanted to do. I did not anticipate seeing this. So I have to get that out there because that frustrates me.
That's fair.
Now, I say all that because I'm actually excited, probably more than everybody else here, to actually watch the film. So that's why I'm a little bit more pissed off about this. But like, you know, I watched, like, I was on the I've actually enjoyed, first off, the Man of Steel. I really like the film. I enjoyed Batman vs. Superman. When we came out of the movie theater, I was excited to be like, yeah, you guys like that? And you guys were like, it sucked. And I was like, oh, I'm alone in this conversation. Like, immediately, I came with, like, kids' glee. Like, we were at Niagara Falls, and I'm like, kids' glee. I'm like, oh.
I was next to you, man, because there was that moment, like, you and I talked all the way up to Niagara Falls in the car, and you and I were arguing over, like, our thoughts. So I'm sitting in that theater next to you, and I'm like, yo, if everyone likes this, I'm gonna be alone. And I you and I would just look over, and everyone's. I remember seeing Tactix like.
I was so, like, I enjoyed it. Now, so this week I rewatched Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition, because after the Ultimate Edition came out, you know, the theatrical edition is just like nothing in comparison. So I've rewatched them. I actually really enjoyed them again. You know, I like his style, even though, yes, there's big problems, but it's very artistic and I enjoy it. So I'm excited going in. I can't wait to see it. You know, I hope that it's good, but I think it's gonna I don't think there's any question that it's gonna beat the theatrical release. The theatrical release was just trash. It was just I like how you guys were with BVS when I went and saw Justice League. I sat there. I was like, no, because, like, I couldn't stand it from the very first scene, because the second I heard Danny Elfman's score, I was pissed. I couldn't stand it, because I'm like, and this is going back to, like, my Bad Boys 3. Junkie XL's score is a part of the world in which those movies are based. Whether you like it or not, it's a part of the world. You can't just change the sound of the world the next film over, right? You just can't do that. Like, you just can't completely fundamentally change how this thing feels, because it will change the whole vibe of a movie, of a franchise. So it's super important, and I was pissed right from the first scene. And then I'm like, this stuff is way too well lit. Like, it's like, how can I see everything around Batman? It's supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be scary. He's not supposed to be, like, just standing out there looking like cosplay, you know? Plus, they had to get Batman filmed after he'd gained weight because they had to bring him back. So I'm so mad about the first one. I just, like, anything would be better, but I'm still hoping for a strong 8. Okay, I'm hoping for an 8. Okay, so all right, I got hyped there. I'm sorry, too much.
It's fine. So, like, honestly, I find this to be interesting because, like, we're kind of capturing ourselves before we watch the new movie, but in terms of, like, a release, we're going to be releasing our reactions to the film before this episode airs on YouTube. So it'll be interesting for us to see where we were when we were naive, and then how we are afterwards. I think you guys will probably be, like, relatively the same. I'll be like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see if you end up liking this film, though, because if you end up liking this film and you're like, oh, that was actually surprisingly good. I mean, I think this is the best possible answer that Umar will give. It was a good film. He definitely shouldn't have waited 2 films to set this one up and, like, put all the things that, like, you know, got answered in this film, whatever. But I think it's the best possible. Like, it's a good film, but he still shouldn't have done what he did in the first 2 films.
I think Umar's going to hate it.
Sorry, what was that?
I think Umar's going to hate it. He's going to trash all over this film.
I think it's a trash, but I'm just saying that's the best possible answer we could ever get.
We're going to look over at Umar, and we're going to be like, Umar, what did you think? And he's going to be like, meh. That's it. And that's it. That's all he's gonna say.
I'm like, I want to try. I'm gonna put myself like, just make sure that no one can hear me. I'm gonna cover my mouth and go.
We can see you, man. Your gestures like are so loud, bro. This is you in every single movie. Whenever any movie that you hate, and for anyone watching, I encourage or listening, I encourage you to watch the video because this is how he does. He's like this, and he's like, oh my gosh, like, he's so extra. Like,
and don't forget the last one.
Yeah.
They're like breathing into his fists.
Your actions are so loud, bro. Like,
I'm emphatic. Leave me alone.
I could never sit beside this guy in a movie theater.
True. You know, I'm gonna bring like a little kid with us one time, and then they would just be like in the middle, be like, Umar, be quiet, and then you feel so bad. You'll just be like, you can't move the whole film.
He's like, I didn't say anything, but your body did, bro. I can hear
it. You're being rude.
All right, moving on to our next topic. Now, this is a hypothetical question that was posed to us by a fan, Elliot. Thank you. So, the question is, do you think James Gordon from Batman and Perry White from Superman know the identities of the people they work with and just keep quiet about it? Now, for any of people who don't read comics, James Gordon is the police officer commissioner who works with Batman, and Perry White is the editor of the Daily Bugle, and so he's the boss of Superman. So I found that to be a rather interesting question, and to be honest, I have my thoughts on it, but I would be interested to hear what you guys think. So, Darcy, let's start with you.
I think yes for both of them. Depending on what iteration. I say that like I've read the comics. I haven't read the comics. But like if I look at like the TV show that I hate, Gotham, like that version of James Gordon where like he finds him as a kid, and a lot of versions I've seen where he like finds him as a kid, he's potentially the one. But I feel like he's a smart enough individual that he can piece those pieces together. Being a detective, I just don't think it's like he would totally not get it. But I could argue that at the same time I could see how he could not get it because there's more degrees of separation between James Gordon and Bruce Wayne, right? To like not to know what's going on in Bruce Wayne's life. Whereas with Perry White, I definitely think he knows. I just feel like there's so much symmetry between he's around the guy all the time, right? He's generally an intelligent person from the depictions that I've seen, and I just feel like he has the benefit of knowing that like even if he knows, he's like there's no reason to expose it because he benefits more from not exposing it. I think he benefits from the newspaper, and he's like, hey, why rock the boat? If I rock this boat, then like I can't like line these things up well. So I think he can manipulate the situation a little bit more for his benefit, just like financial benefit, not like villainously.
Interesting. T?
Yeah, I got to piggyback off of that. I think totally. I think they both know. James Gordon, for the simple fact that he's the commissioner. Of course, he's going to know that, especially if he's like working closely with Batman. I think eventually he's going to kind of piece things together and make that deduction himself and realize, okay, yeah, I'm working with Bruce Wayne. I don't fully understand how that works, but or actually no, maybe because he knows about Martha and Thomas getting killed and whatnot. So
everyone knows about that.
Yeah, so it would make sense why Bruce Wayne would set down this path that he's on, right? And so, yeah, I definitely think James Gordon knows. Perry White, yes, especially because of the fact that he's an he works Daily Bugle, investigative journalist, so smart individual, and like Darcy said, it works to his benefit if he keeps things under wraps and plays coy and doesn't reveal that he knows it, and he can kind of manipulate the situation to his own advantage. And yeah.
I have one more thing to throw here. At worst, they suspect it and just they know they can't prove it, so they just go, all right, cool. Like at worst, there's like they definitely think it, but like I don't have the proof. but then what's the point of getting the proof, right? Because getting the proof, especially for James Gordon, could be like, it could actually be worse exposing the fact. So he's like, well, if I keep plausible deniability, I take it, but I don't know it.
Yeah, and there's no point in proving it because it's like you said, right? Like if they do, like the fact that they know and they don't expose it, it works to their favor, both for both of them, right? Because it's at least they're on our side, right? They're fighting for the greater good, so it's a win for me either way.
Yeah, and that means also too that they know that like if they ever fuck up, they'll just like flip the switch and go, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If Batman goes too far, it's like, all right, well, it's time to bring him in. If Superman goes too far, well, at least I'll just expose it in the paper. I'll at least mess that part of his life up.
Personally, I have a slightly different one. Like, I believe that James Gordon knows, but he's not so much like plausible deniability. It's like he is able to figure it out. He has kind of on some level, but he's also not wanting to because he doesn't see a need to. He believes in him, and so therefore he's like, the pieces are all there. He can probably figure it out, and he probably already has, but he's not decided to go that extra step to kind of like consciously be like, let me solve this, let me get the evidence, let me make sure. It's just like, yeah, I think I know who he is, but at the same time, let's keep that 5% just to make sure, like, you know, it's not necessary. Perry White, to be honest, you guys have a little bit more faith in him than I do. I think Perry White just is too. To be fair, I've never really had a high opinion of Perry White. I don't have a low opinion of him either. I just think that he's got too much focus on other things to actually focus on Clark. I don't think he sees Clark really. Like, he sees him enough to be like, Clark, do this. But I don't think he sees him as like, I just think that Perry doesn't know, and he's probably looking for something a little bit higher, and that Clark literally is just beneath his view. But that's just me.
I kind of feel like, though, like, and I'm also putting some weight into the Zack Snyder film, just based off of was it Lawrence Fishburne's acting? Just like in his particular acting of the character, there's something to it that makes me feel so. But I feel like
to be fair, Zack Snyder doesn't really understand the concept of secret identity, nor to portray someone who is doing it effectively.
No, I get all that, but what I'm getting at is more like, I'm just saying Lawrence Fishburne's character and the way he portrayed him and the way he acted gave me a feeling of reverence and intelligence from his performance, regardless of the universe he's put into. That I'm putting some weight into that character, and when I actually had this thought before I heard this question while I was watching the film, because it was just something about the way that he was moving and interacting with him that I was like, this man knows. Like, he knows, but he doesn't care that much. It's more like he's seen a picture of Superman, and one day he saw Clark, and he's probably just like, and some coincidence of them, like, because he's saying like, where is this man? He's like, never here, right? Like, he makes a comment of that, and I feel like the fact that he makes that comment and he doesn't fire him alone, I just feel like there's something to it. It's like, he knows. That's why he doesn't fire him. He just kind of puts it together and goes, all right, I'll stick with it.
Yeah, like I see what you're saying, and to be fair, I do agree that like Fishburne's performance gives the impression that he's someone who is intelligent enough to put it together. But when it comes to the actual evidence shown in the films, it's kind of hard that no one has picked up on it. Like, literally, Lois is like screaming his name next to cops, and also he died on the same day Superman died.
Oh yeah. And I mean, anytime, but once you die, that's kind of a relevant point at this point, because
for me, like I will agree if Lawrence Fishburne was my idea of what Perry White would be. And don't get me wrong, like, I actually like Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White. I also liked Frank Langella in Superman Returns. The character himself has, like, even in the comics, I never really connected with him. I connected with James Gordon. I only saw the first 8 episodes of Gotham, and fuck that series. I really liked Gary Oldman in Batman, the Dark Knight series. I never really was like. I found the James Gordon from the 1960s to be entertaining, but I would say that the comic James Gordon I know a lot more than Perry White, and so I have a little bit. Maybe that's a bias in itself. Like I have more respect for James Gordon, so therefore I think that he actually has figured it out. While Perry White, I've never really paid much attention to, so I don't really think he has.
I mean, there's more reason
for Perry White to do. That's why.
True.
In terms of like the overall vocation of Superman and what he does, right? Like Perry White doesn't really facilitate anything that Superman does. He's not responsible for that. Whereas the Gordon and Batman have more of a working relationship because they're both working for the same cause. Essentially, it's just Batman is taking it a step further, right?
Yeah.
I going back to your comment though about like Zack Snyder's Superman is not really set up to be like very visually hidden. I honestly never found like the original, like, what was it, Christopher Reeves? Like he did not look hidden to me either.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. Like I get like his performance of like, you know, he definitely portrays a different personality, but the problem with Superman is that he's a giant freaking dude who like he just visually to me always looks like, yeah, these look like the same person to me. They visually are so, because he's always supposed to be like 6'5" and really strong. There's not a lot of 6'5" really jacked people in general, and like the glasses are not enough. They're never enough, right?
But he purposely slouches. He purposely slouches too, and like he wears his hairstyle differently as well. Like granted, I mean, like it's not the best looking disguise, but I would say if in comparison to everything else that we've gotten in terms of the dichotomy between Clark Kent and Superman and all the other depictions that we've seen, I personally think that Christopher Reeves is probably the best hidden disguise.
I would have to agree because like for me,
I agree
like
that too.
Like with like in all other iterations of Superman, like on film or on screen, let's just say on screen, Christopher Reeves, I would say, did. For me, like even particularly when I saw in the first movie, even to this day, the scene where he, after his flying date with Lois and she goes into the other room and he's Clark, and then he takes off the glasses and stands for himself normally. I see a literal transformation of a person from one person to the other, and like I can see why it works. The way he speaks, how he speaks,
his stature, like the way he stands, like
it's a complete transformation for me. Compare that to Henry Cavill's. Like again, I'm not blaming Henry Cavill. I personally think he has it in him to, like, as an actor, to do a similar sort of transformation. It's just that Zack Snyder doesn't he doesn't understand that. And Dean Cain, I mean, not really. Tyler Hoechlin, I would say that he's gotten the bumbling part down, but like it's not a real transformation. It's just like a character transformation, which you guys have heard me. I respect. What are the other iterations?
Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh, I don't know about his ability to act. I saw him as imitating Christopher Reeves, his version. I would have preferred him to try his own version because it just looked like he was a poor man's Christopher Reeve.
That whole movie though was a poor man's Christopher Reeve though. Like
agreed.
As much as like he might have been imitating, that's kind of what he got billed to do.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Well, yeah, it's a continuation of the Reeves franchise, right?
Exactly. So yeah. I feel kind of bad for that film because it didn't really have a chance because they didn't try to, like, they did subtle changes, like his suit, which looks stupid, and like his Superman, I would say, was a little bit different, but his Clark he looked like he was trying to imitate Christopher Reeve. And from one actor to another, that's not a good direction to give an actor.
You know what they said about that film? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, please go on.
The thing that they said about that film was that, like, it was too safe. And the problem is that it's like, It actually wasn't a bad film on the whole, but it was so just down the middle that it just didn't give you enough. It didn't fail at doing what it needed to do, but it just didn't have anything exciting to it. So it was just kind of like, it happened.
Yeah, like it kind of reminds me of like that line from Ocean's 11 when Brad Pitt's like telling Matt Damon on how to like play his mark. It's like he has to like you and then forget you right afterwards, and it's like that's kind of what the movie did. Like,
Yeah,
I have to be reminded. You guys had to remind me, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that movie did happen. I think the only thing about that film I actually remember finding interesting was two parts. One, when he stops the plane from crashing, and the other when he picked up the kryptonite Krypton and tossed it into space.
For me, it was when he got shot in the eye. I was like, yo, I'd never seen that from a Superman film before. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You guys have labeled all three of my favorite scenes. like I always, whenever I think about the film, I'm like, oh, I enjoyed that film. But like it's like something. Actually, the fourth thing I liked about the film now it doesn't feel so good is Kevin Spacey's depiction. There was something about Kevin Spacey's depiction that like. Here's the thing that I liked about it, but it wasn't amazing. Is that because again, it falls into the category of everything was kind of blah with that film.
Yeah,
it was the underlying fear that he gave me that he delivered on in House of Cards. I felt a little hint of what we ended up getting later from him in House of Cards that we ended up realizing was reality, unfortunately. but when I saw that in the Luther, I was like, yo, like there was a moment he had one scene that I was like, yo, what's going on here? Like it went from being like kind of quirky to be like, I actually got scared of the character for like a hint of something. And I'm like, that was really something. But Umar, I have to circle back on this. Yes, I completely agree. Reeves has both from a film perspective and from a delivery of his acting perspective is a way better depiction of the separation between Clark and Superman. But I always physically looked at him and go, I could still tell. Like it just like it didn't. I always felt like it still wasn't plausible enough, and I feel like it's the whole setup from what Superman is set up to be. Like, yeah, it's like one is a 10 and one is a 4, but it still for me is like I can still tell.
I would say I can understand now what you're saying because like I wasn't getting that before. I would say like in the comics in the Superman Batman comic when Supergirl shows up, there was a great panel where they show her being like, how is it that you just put glasses and a suit on and no one knows who you are? And then they go to a park where they have like a monument to Superman. And she looks up and she's like, it's a larger than life monument. And she looks at him. And she's like, I now understand why they see you like this. They would never look at you and equate this to that. And I was like, that's it.
That's in the film, right?
No, that was in the comic.
I thought they did that in the film too. Remember that Supergirl one where she fights Darkseid? Didn't they do that?
Darkseid?
Yeah, I know. But didn't they do that too? I think they did that in that film.
They didn't like they did a little bit of it, but they didn't have the exact wording as they had in the comic. And I found the comic, well, as with all like depictions, I found the comic to be better. Anyway, moving on to our final topic. In the few minutes we have left, I know Tactix. I'm assuming you haven't watched Falcon and Winter Soldier yet, the first episode.
You would assume right.
All right. So I just want to give a non-spoiler. Darcy, have you watched it?
Yes, I just finished the episode before we started.
Oh, okay, excellent. All right, so we will give a spoiler-free initial thoughts. And
so the last scene entails.
But first, I want to start with you, Tactix. I want to hear what your feelings about the show, especially after watching WandaVision, and like what are your feelings about the show before watching it?
I was about to say I haven't seen it yet. What are you talking about?
What do you think about the show?
I like the trailers. I like what I've seen so far. I feel like I'm potentially going to enjoy this a lot more than WandaVision. Just on an action level. I mean, story wise, I still don't really know exactly what's going on and where. Like, is it? Do they intend to tie this into anything, or is this kind of just like a one-off like series of its own? Oh, so we don't even know. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm more excited for Justice League, to be honest. So that's why I've kind of been holding back a little bit. But I'm just keeping it real, man. We need redemption for that movie. So
Me too.
I love that you're like, don't judge me.
No, it's just like I know that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be good, right? At the very least, decent, but it's going to be good. Like Marvel, for the most part, hasn't really let us down, right? But DC, they shit the bed plenty of times. We need a win, man. I've been rooting for DC for so long and trying so hard to defend it. I have nothing. I honestly have not. Like, there's so many people that have come to me and say, Aquaman sucks, and I was like, yeah, I enjoyed it, but it's like I can't. It's not for everybody. Like, I watched it again for a second time, and I was like, it's all right.
It's a good 90s action film.
Yeah, but it's like, would I want to see this again over and over again, like a Dark Knight kind of thing? Not really.
No,
right? So, going back to what I was originally saying, I'm excited for it. I'm expecting it to be good. I'm sure it will be, and that's as much as I can say about it because I haven't watched it yet.
Cool, Darcy. What were your initial thoughts?
First off,
spoiler free.
Yeah. First off, DC doesn't shit the bed; they bring the bed to the shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, DC, just make it through the night without pissing or shit in the bed. Like, come on, let's potty train already.
No, like there's a sewer somewhere. Like, oh, we live here. Okay. Falcon and the Soldier. First episode was awesome. It was action packed. It surprised me. I was like, yo, these first 10 minutes, these only 10 minutes? Like, holy crap, okay? So that's pretty much it. And I'm definitely right that it's gonna have at times a Top Gun-ish vibe when Falcon's doing his thing. I really enjoyed that. It's like that, but in a way that you couldn't do with anybody else, because it's like a jet scene, but then it's also like it's a human, so it's totally different. And it looks like they're setting up some really good stuff. The one thing I'll say, not this is not spoilery, but it's gonna like just hint at one thing that I'm really liking they did in WandaVision, and they're gonna continue here very strongly, is continually building out on the blip or the snap. Just continuing in that world of things. That's gonna be really beneficial. That they're not skipping pie that at any means.
All right. Yeah, like I'm all right. So mine is, I like it. I found it to be an interesting first episode. I am interested to see where this will go. I found the action to be good, and I liked certain callbacks to the movie Winter Soldier that happened. I also am liking that so far, Falcon and Winter Soldier has started out with a fair amount of wokeness, both on a diversity level and also on a racial level. I thought that they would pull their punches a lot more, and instead they've actually started conversations that hopefully don't end in the first episode. Like, if they do, it's going to be like, oh, you could have taken that somewhere, but okay. But nonetheless, I find it to be promising in terms of an opening. I found the acting from both Falcon and Winter Soldier to be really good. I really like the fleshing out of both characters, and I really like the fact that they're taking advantage of the fact that it's a miniseries, so it's like you can do characterization and you can take your time with it. So I will have to say that I am liking this more. Like, honestly, I was more excited for WandaVision than I was for Falcon and Winter Soldier. It was you both know, it was lower on my list than like Loki and WandaVision. I am very happy with this first episode in terms of like it gathering my interest. But I also see it could go bad. I'm just really hoping it doesn't. So that's my initial thoughts.
Word. I mean, I don't agree with you. It could go bad. I think it's gonna be awesome. I think it's gonna be just like very similar to the Winter Soldier movie, and in terms of tone, in terms of just being like more of a military feel to it. So
okay, yeah. or spy feel.
Yeah, just that kind of vein of action film in general. You know what I mean? When it's military based to some degree. You know, Jason Bourne. So
okay, well, yeah, we will see. Hopefully, Tactix, you'll watch it by our next podcast taping, and we get to hear your thoughts.
Cool. I will do that for sure.
All right.
that was weak.
Is that how we're ending this? Is
Yes.
that it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it then. I'm your boy Tactix. Signing off. Live long and prosper, y'all.
Oh,
Peace.
you
And
son
I'm-
of a bitch!
Yo, it's just Darcy here. I'm out.
Darcy. And this is a Big Geek Umar.
Yo.
Like and subscribe and comment if you like.
Oh, he switched it up on you motherfuckers. Okay.
Nobody knows what to do anymore.